25 questions in 25 days. Hello, Aluxers. This is a special series we're doing before the end of the year, where we answer some of the questions you ladies and gents have sent our way. If you're new here, do yourself a favor and subscribe. You're currently missing out. Here's today's question. Learning how to learn. Asked by Cosmin via the secret Facebook group for Aluxers. If you've watched our video on 15 skills that pay off forever, you've probably been fascinated by the idea of learning how to learn. It's the type of skill that allows you to acquire other skills quicker, which makes it the holy grail of abilities that one can master, which also makes it one of the most difficult skills to master. Don't worry though, we're planning on doing a detailed video on this sometime in the next year. But until then, we'll go through a segment of learning that you're probably not aware of, something concrete that you can take with you from now on in order to get better at learning. The way we look at it, learning is a combination of two processes. 1. Focused work. That's when you sit down and grind it out. And the second one, which we call relaxed work, when you enjoy something and inevitably learn about the subject. Focused work is something like learning to play the guitar. You have a set of rules, you have a recipe, and you follow that recipe until you learn to play the guitar. While relaxed work is like learning the lyrics and how to sing a song because you listen to it a lot. We as humans have a large capacity to understand complex information, but many don't see it that way. The fact that you understand the entire Marvel universe, or you can recall the lore of Lord of the Rings, or even know the relationships going on in the Kardashian universe, these are all types of networks of information you've stored in your brain. You didn't have to grind it out, instead you were just relaxed and passionate about them. In order to acquire a new skill, to learn something new of value, you'll need to jump between these two types of processes: focused work and relaxed work. There's a really great example of how the genius of Salvador Dali used to come out. He wasn't just a creative genius, he used to grind it out a lot. He'd be working non-stop on a piece for hours or even days, and at some points, he couldn't bring it all together or he'd get stuck. At some point, his focused work just wasn't enough, and at that point, he would sit in a comfortable chair with his keys in his hand and relax, letting his mind wander around. Because his mind was no longer focused on the grinding work he was doing, he allowed itself to seek into the creative juices we all have within ourselves. As he was about to fall asleep, his body would relax, and he would inevitably drop his keys on the floor, which would wake him up. As soon as he was awake, he got back to work and let the creative ideas infuse themselves into the focused work. I know this sounds a bit complicated, but it's something we can all do. A great and easy way to implement this in your daily life is by using the Pomodoro Technique. There are plenty of apps and websites that offer this function, or if you don't feel like being too technical about it, you can just use any timer you wish. The goal here is to work at something for 25 minutes at a time, and then take a short, relaxing break before you jump right into another Pomodoro of 25 minutes. You'll not be able to finish the entire project in 25 minutes, nor should you. The aim is to sit down, put in valuable work in those 25 minutes, and then let your mind relax. Reward yourself with a pleasant activity for 10 minutes, then jump back into another Pomodoro of 25. You'll realize that if you break down the process into 25-minute pieces, you'll get substantially more done and will see better results. Learning is difficult, and learning how to learn is a tiresome process, but massively worth it. If you look deep within your mind, you'll realize that everything you have stored in your mind is connected to a feeling or a particular moment in time. This technique is called mind mapping, or some people even call it the mind palace, as you've probably been introduced to it with Sherlock Holmes series. And that's where school has failed you, because you start to memorize things for the sake of being able to vomit out that information during a test, instead of deeply understanding the concepts and relating them to who you are and how you think. Your mind doesn't memorize paragraphs. It saves feelings, images, and how they relate to each other. We don't remember phrases. We remember the answers we give to questions we ask ourselves, because those answers come from what we understand. The more we're able to understand, the better our answers are. In order to understand more, we have to ask better questions and figure out what kind of answers fulfill that desire of knowledge. It's easier to learn and store the information of what happened during the war if you understand the dynamics, what took place at the time, why they did what they did, how they were thinking. The moment you rationalize and understand the behavior, that's the valuable stored knowledge, which you'll be able to recall at your command. Instead, if you just try to cram in as many facts as possible, you'll end up forgetting it all because there are just no roots to it. The biggest obstacle in learning that people face is the desire to procrastinate. When you know you have something to do which isn't particularly what you want or enjoy doing, there's almost a physical pain in the body. Studies show that if you force yourself to do it, that pain will most likely go away in a couple of minutes. Most people choose to avoid the pain by shifting focus to something else, thus stopping the learning process. You are a blacksmith, and your mind is like a piece of iron you wish to turn into a sword. The more you put into the fire and go at it, the better the sword you'll create. In conclusion, if you wish to learn something new, try the Pomodoro Technique by breaking the process down into smaller increments. Stop procrastinating by overcoming that initial hump until the feeling of unease goes away and you learn for the purpose of deep understanding, so the skill will last longer. Repeat this constantly until the skill you need is acquired. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. The more progress you'll make, the easier the process will become. There are so many valuable books we could recommend on this subject, but the one that's going to make the biggest real difference in your life is called Mastery by Robert Greene. Any skill you wish to learn can be acquired if you follow that type of system. Deep observation, followed by skill acquisition, and then transfiguring those ideas into reality. The first two parts of the system are made a lot easier if you figure out how to use the process we mentioned earlier of focused work and relaxed work. If this sounds like the book for you, treat yourself this holiday season and go to Alux.com/freebook and get Mastery by Robert Greene for free, thanks to our partnership with Audible. Now, Aluxers, we're curious to know, have you used the Pomodoro Technique before? Were you successful with it? Let us know in the comments. If you want to make sure you're not missing any of the daily value we provide, make sure to subscribe and follow us on social media. You can never have too much motivation in your life. We handpicked this video for you to watch next. We look forward to hearing from you, and as always, see you back here tomorrow.